Hello, my name is Skyler and I am playing Choice of Robots. I bought this game on Steam for $5 and it is a book adventure game. I'm going to go with that. Okay, so where are you? I'd say this is like a personal experience kind of thing. So you could watch me play it, but you could go on Steam and buy it yourself. And then you'll have your personal experience instead of my personal experience. But I'm going to be playing this game, and hopefully you'll stick with me till the end. So, without further ado, here I go. Where are you? In the court of the Egyptian god Anubis, answering for my sins, on a war-torn battlefield with a robotic Statue of Liberty, on a cliff in Ireland, watching the sunset with a robot companion, or on a utopian beach ruled by a godlike cloud of robots. I'm going to go with on a war-torn battlefield with a robotic Statue of Liberty. Oh, before I get into this any further, I really suck at reading at times. My mind wants to put words where they shouldn't be, or add words where they shouldn't be, I should say. And I also apologize if you can hear my computer fans. I'm not really sure what to do about that. So, let's move on. You stand in a blasted wasteland next to the Statue of Liberty. Only she's a robot with a glowing red eye on the right side of her face. In places, her green patina has been blasted away to reveal the dull luster of a copper. See, this is what I'm talking about. Of copper underneath, not a copper. I'm sorry. She crouches before you, her crackling torch casts shadows across her metal face and spiked crown as she looms closer. Far away, the sounds of bombs and gunfire echo from the mountains. You smell burning oil. I made you what you are. Her voice is hollow, loud, and abrasive. Now defend me. From far off, you can hear the howls, wow, I really can't read, of robotic wolves and the thundering feet of other robotic colossi. Don't worry, my robots will defend you. You are mistaken, my robots are kind. They will not fight. You are mistaken. I have hated you all my life, and I will destroy you. My robots obeyed no one. I gave them free will to decide as they please. I'm going to go with that one. Indeed, you have always made your robots unpredictable, sometimes in the expense of their obedience or reliability. Sorry. You are surrounded by a multi-assortment of whimsical robots, juggling robots, robots trying to balance on unicycles, robots with Inspector Gadget arms holding flowers and megaphones, and God knows what else. You are a fool, the robotic Statue of Liberty says. You think your irresponsibility comes at no price? But when the dragon comes, your way of life will be destroyed. Dragon? You ask. What dragon? The statue is about to reply when a long robotic river dragon with chrome whiskers and tiny robotic claws comes flying through the air, hurling itself at the Statue of Liberty. The two robots become locked in combat, with Liberty trying to burn the Chinese dragon and the dragon's claws snapping at her neck. Why am I dreaming in political cartoons, you wonder, as you realize it is a dream, you wake. Ah, okay. The story is already interesting. Some things are in our control and others not. So, let's see. Before I get into chapter 1, let me show stats. It's the year 2019. I am a 24-year-old unnamed protagonist. My humanity is 90%. My gender is questionable. Fame, 0. Wealth, broke. Romance, none. And I feel like this robot stuff is gonna come in later. I don't have a robot yet. Chapter 1, Assembly. You awaken with your head on a desktop keyboard. Your 3D drafting program is still open. The schematic zoomed into the recess where your smartphone will snap into its back to act as its brain. You recall fiddling with that part endlessly last night until finally your vision began to fade. There was a roaring in your ears, and you realize that you have been working far, far too long. You must have passed out. It is the fall of 2019, not 1920. You're a 24-year-old graduate student with the PhD program in computer science at Stanford, and you're a girl whose name is... Here, I'll type it for you. What is your first name? Skyler is my first name. Skyler, is that right? Yes. And your last name is... I like Tezuka. You look around your apartment. What does it look like? From now on, I'm going to read them in my head, and then I will read the answer that I picked out. My shelves display all of the strange little robotic creatures I've made over the years. You've always been fascinated with the idea of crafting artificial life. You've gotten at least 20 such creations on your shelves. Their construction materials a timeline of your life. The earliest is made of toothpicks and glue, the latest a spider robot you made out of your old smartphone when your plan gave you a new one. Your creations often confuse people who don't get that robots have to be for anything. I'm sorry, my reading sucks. When people pick up your 3-legged wall-climbing robot that sings when it detects encrypted wireless packets, they ask, "What the heck is that for?" And you reply, "What is anything for? What are you for?" Okay, maybe you don't say that, but you sometimes think it. It strikes you for a moment that this kind of thinking about how your life affects your robot is second nature to you, though others might find it peculiar. You've always been fascinated by how every little detail of your life, from the content of your dreams to the decor of your room, oh, I can't pronounce decor without calling it a dick, changes the inputs to the robots you create, boost their empathy, autonomy, or grace, or appeal to the military. Surely the other things going on around you as a result of your decisions. I am so sorry. Surely there are other things going on around you as a result of your decisions, but they don't immediately strike you in the same way. Today your robot is foremost on your mind because you're about to build its body. You pick up your laptop and head for the Stanford machine shop. It's a beautiful spring day in Palo Alto, California, and your apartment is only a short walk from the machine shop. But the streets of Palo Alto are not designed for walking. You find yourself climbing around palm trees and balancing on narrow curbs as you do every day. I wonder if it's really like that. You hear a low roar overhead. Glancing up, you see a flying car, a Nimbus. A little over $300,000 can buy you a car with wings that fold out so that it becomes a small, short plane. I've actually seen one of those before in a YouTube video. Huh. The red Nimbus looks sleek and sporty. It's the sort of car its owner takes religiously to the car wash. Though the commercials would have you believe you can fly anywhere you want in those cars, the FAA still requires them to take off and land from airports. Only here in wealthy Silicon Valley do you see them with any frequency. The first time you saw one, you couldn't quite believe the future had arrived so quickly. But the second time you saw one, you thought, why aren't those flying cars driving themselves? Occasionally, you see a self-driving car on the roads of Palo Alto, but for some reason, they still haven't caught on quite as much as one would expect, despite having been around at least as long as flying cars. Wow. You've decided it's because people don't trust self-driving cars enough. It's important to make your robot seem trustworthy. Intelligence alone doesn't instill trust. The Stanford University fabrication shop smells like oil and burnt plastic. The room is dominated by large, metal, hand-cranked milling machines and lathes. I've never had to pronounce that word. Dinosaurs of the 20th century. While most used machines are smaller 3D printers and computer-controlled water jet cutters that take a quarter of the space. The lathes have the sterile fluorescence of an operating room, with only a single tiny window near the ceiling to inform you that it is day. You start up a National Public Radio podcast on your laptop. You haven't seen your advisor much since you joined the lab, so you chose the episode in which he's the interviewee. The interviewee? Well, he's not the interviewer, so would he be the interviewee? I guess. My guest today is Dr. Harvey Ziegler, says a woman with a soothing voice. Dr. Ziegler, thank you for talking with us today. Well, a scientist does have some responsibility into informed, unwashed masses, Terry. You let the podcast run as you walk over to the 3D printer. What material have you decided to use for your robot? Metal. It is the most resistant to damage. You walk over to the computer-controlled water jet cutter, where a helpful program shows the jet of abrasive-filled water slicing a hand in two. Dr. Ziegler, in your new book, you talk about the singularity. Could you describe for our listeners what that is? Terry, the singularity is coming. I'm going to hate myself for reading this for YouTube. Terry, the singularity is the coming time when artificial intelligence will have figured out how to make themselves and us smarter. Once that happens, I'm sorry, Terry, the process will build on itself until the robots are smart enough to figure out how we can live forever. Is that possible? The interviewer asks, living forever? Of course, Professor Ziegler says. What does it matter where our operating systems are... Not where. Terry, I'm sorry again. I never took a public speaking class. I don't know the words that are coming out of my mouth. What doesn't matter whether our operating systems are made out of meat or silicone? So you're pretending we'll become robots? Not exactly, Ziegler says, but I do think the line between humans and robots will blur. You are hardly listening to the podcast because you're about to make your first robot part. What does the head of your robot look like? It will look like a... Oh, stop it. Shush. I'm very sorry. It will look like a Venetian mask. Beautiful, expressionless, and otherworldly. The waterjet cutter quickly cuts the face. The small nose, the dainty mouth, the large black holes where CCD panels will absorb all light. It takes somewhat longer to add the intricate metal frill that adds a corona to the mask. This is a robot that will command awe. Dr. Ziegler, what makes you think the singularity will happen now? Well, for one thing, I'm around. But seriously, my lab is taking a unique approach because we're saying, why not teach a robot like a child? We're going to equip the robot with the best sensors. I'm sorry again, Terry. Money can buy, and teach it English. Then it could rapidly teach itself using the internet. Well, that's annoying. Your advisor thought that a robot child was a stupid idea until you told him. Turning proposed back in 1950. Turning proposed... Oh, not turning. Oh my... Speak words that are on page, please. Thank you. Turing proposed it back in 1950, minus the internet part. But he isn't giving credit to either of you. You keep working regardless. How will the robot get around? Will walk upright, but will also have delicate wings it can use for balance. Oh, my empathy went down. Huh. Wait. Okay, so... Oh, no, it's the robot's empathy. Okay, not my empathy. I don't exactly have empathy. I don't have an empathy meter. Okay. You stretch a polyester film between the metal spokes of the wings, and then attach these to your robot's back. These wings should give your bipedal robot better balance, and in case it does begin to fall, they will act as a kind of parachute that will give it more time to recover. However, angels are not known for being approachable, and your robot's appearance will set it apart from people. Okay, good. Well, my robot only needs me, so... Fuck those other people. You use the basic hand-cranked milling machines to drill holes in the head for screws, since the waterjet cutters aren't the best for threading holes. And who is going to raise this robotic child? The interviewer asks. Who does all the grunt work in a research laboratory? Professor Ziegler says. The graduate students, of course. You find yourself wanting to reply to the podcast. Perhaps you could learn something from doing a little grunt work yourself, Professor Ziegler. Wow, loud cars in the background. Thank you very much. I doubt it, but I would join you if I had the time, Professor... Oh, I should have... I doubt it, but I would join you if I had the time, Professor Ziegler, who appears to have entered the machine shop behind you when you weren't looking. Perhaps it surprises you, but I do miss building robots myself instead of chasing after funding. Professor Ziegler is a heavy-set man wearing a Hawaiian shirt and aviator sunglasses. He stalks over to your computer. We'll be back in a moment. Continues the interviewer. We're talking with Professor Ziegler pauses the podcast by hitting your laptop's spacebar, and you flinch at this intrusion. He then pulls a cigar from his pocket and lights it. The smell of smoke mingles with the oily smell of the machine shop. So... I'm thinking that he's Cuban for some reason. I guess because of the Hawaiian shirt, but Cubans and Hawaiians, I'm pretty sure, are not the same people. Yeah, they're. I hate world history. I don't know where anything is. I'm a very stereotypical American who can't read and thinks that America is the only place in the world. Anywho, I'm running a grant for DARPA and I need to see what you're making back here. We ultimately get funded by the Department of Defense, so we have to make sure they're happy with our product. He cast a critical eye on the work you've done so far. Metal's a good choice, Zegler says. They'll want things that appear adorable in the field. Professor Zegler turns examining your robot's head, which is currently sitting on the table next to your water jet cooler. That seems alright, Zegler says. Looks like it could be sufficiently intimidating, not imitating. And what are you planning to do for the arms and hands? Professor Zegler says. I plan to build a soft hand with a good sense of touch. Touchy-feely robots are not quite easy to sell to DARPA, Zegler says with a frown. I want my robot to get along with people, you say. That's a universally useful goal, regardless of who's funding it. Fine, Zegler says, waving away further explanation. Carry on then. He turns to leave. I've got to go take a call from a New York Times reporter. Okay, Skyler, so you work here. You know, it's funny how the journalists all copy each other's stories, but each garble the message in a unique way. Yeah, you know? I guess, Professor? He makes it to the door and turns to say, oh, one more thing. Do you think your robot can be ready by tomorrow? Someone from the Air Force will be in town, and I told her your robot might be ready to show off by then. You feel your phone vibrating in your pocket. Bad timing. You resist the urge to check it while talking to your advisor, but it's probably someone with a better offer for what to do tonight. The robot will be done, but a demo will be out of the question. We need to test first. Professor Zegler grudgingly nods. Who? Okay. I can see the logic of that. Maybe we'll just send her a demo video. Then it only has to work once. Professor Zegler turns and walks out of the machine shop. You find yourself unclenching your hands. Who was calling you while Professor Zegler was talking to you? My ambitious friend, Josh Anderson, founder of the startup US Robots. From the missed call, your phone is displaying Josh's profile photo. It's a picture of Josh and Ellie from the Freshman Welcome Week dance 7 years ago. Ellie is wearing a red Chinese dress with gold trim. Her long, straight black hair falling down to the epaulets. The flash is too bright in the picture, making Ellie's pale skin look washed out. Josh is wearing his usual gray hoodie, not having bothered to dress up for the dance, and his arm is around Ellie. What is the story behind that picture? I was in love with Josh's friend Ellie, but my studies always came first in college. Yes, you pinned after Ellie in college, but you knew that you would not have time to pursue romance, not while you were taking 5 classes, some of them graduate work. That photo from one of the dances during freshman orientation before you had homework, you never went to another one. You continue to hope that someday your perseverance and dedication will pay off, but a little part of you still longs for Ellie. It's the part you fear. It's a part you fear. And even though she's working just an hour away in San Francisco, you haven't seen her much recently. You notice that Josh also left you a text. Josh wants to meet for dinner at a burger joint in East Palo Alto. I hope that I'm saying that right. He says that he wants to run some project ideas by you to see if you're interested in working with his company on any of them. It occurs to you that you were just working with Josh. It occurs to you that if you were just working with Josh, you might be able to get funding for your education from him instead of Professor Ziegler's military grants. You text back. Afraid I can't tonight. Sorry. Oh, I just noticed that the box is a little bit cut off. Let's see if I can do... No. Wait, yeah, I can do a little bit of something about that. There we go. Now nothing is cut off. Too bad, Josh checks back. Maybe next time. You spend the rest of the day drilling holes, polishing surfaces, cutting parts, and screwing things together. When you are done, your robot's body stands before you, a metal-winged robot with a masked head and humanoid hands. The whole thing is about 3 feet tall. Oh, that's so adorable. Now it only needs a name. What will you call your robot? Oh, kill all. Going with the name Miku. You name your robot after Hatsune Miku. Oh my gosh. Good. You name your robot after Hatsune Miku, a Japanese artificial character celebrity. Domino's once released an app in Japan in which virtual Miku would dance on your pizza box. If that isn't worthy of homage, you don't know what is. Now that Miku has a body, it might be time to treat Miku more like a person. With what pronunciations will you prefer to Miku? I would prefer to use entirely new pronouns for robots. Re, rar, and rim. And rim? You equally dislike the objectification implied by it and the genderness implied by he and she. Robots are their own things, you reason. Robot he, robot she, re. You decide to balance the other pronouns between genders, for positive and rim for objective. It may be difficult to get anyone else to use those words, but as long as your robots use them amongst themselves, you'll be happy. You look on Miku's 3 feet tall winged body with satisfaction. Now all Re needs are monitors and a mind. The monitors will have to wait for tomorrow, but you spent years in graduate school writing the code that would form this robot's mind. You can hardly wait to try it out. You head back to your apartment, where you spend several hours working on the final touches to Miku's natural language processing code. Which language do you program your robots in? Uh, yeah. It's, programs written in Go tend to be incredibly short and expressive, almost like Zen koans in their brevity and power. Brevity. Yeah, I'm gonna pronounce it brevity. You believe there is beauty in simplicity. In code, less is more. You also enjoy using the command that gives the language its name. You imagine saying your robots. You. As you imagine saying to your robots one day, go think, go create, go live. With the code done, you briefly add just enough monitors to allow Miku to explore your room. It's a quick job. You'll do more through one tomorrow. You'll do a more thorough one tomorrow. Jeez, your smartphone won't have much power for all the monitors right now. Finally, you upload the code to your smartphone and plug it into Miku's back. You touch the icon labeled Miku, and a big red button fills the screen. Your finger hovers over the button. You probably want the first word Miku learns to be significant somehow. What is the first thing Miku will see when you power Rim on? Him on, okay. I will start Miku from a mirror. I will start Miku looking at me. I will start Miku looking at me. I'm very self-centered, aren't I? You activate Miku facing you. Ri looks into your eyes. You've heard many animals imprint on the first living thing they see. Usually their mother, and they love this being instinctually. You're trying to create experience for Miku as well. As Miku looks into your eyes, you call yourself Skyler. You think being on a first name basis with Miku will help you get along. Skyler, you say. Skyler, Miku repeats. You then pick Miku up and put Rim down in the center of the room to allow Rim to explore at will. But at first, Ri simply seems overwhelmed by the possibilities. You decide to call this state curiosity. I will allow Miku to choose where to go. Curiosity, Miku repeats. Ri walks up to your closet and peeks inside, but it's something of a mess in there. And Ri quickly gets rear wing. Oh, jeez. And Ri quickly gets rare winged moving parts caught in your clothing. You pick Miku up in your hands. Ri wiggles nervously. I got you, you say. You got me. Ri continues to wriggle. Stop. Your robot becomes still in your hands. You decide to teach Rim what the word for the state is. Peace. Peace, Miku repeats back. You have taught Rim to be unafraid and unaggressive in unfamiliar situations. But now it is near midnight, and you have another busy day of improving Miku. You get ready for bed, having Miku plugged into the wall with your cell phone charger. Stay there, you tell Rim. Miku obediently stays very still, so that while you are drifting off to sleep, you glance down at Miku just to make sure rear code didn't crash. But Ri is still there, looking at you adorningly, and you think Ri will probably remain like that all night. Okay, I don't know why my humanity keeps going down. My robot's name is Miku. You got the nice autonomy, you got one military, you got an empathy, and you got a grace. Um, I got some friends here, some relationships. We got Professor Zegler, Ellie, who I was in love with, and Josh, who works at a company or owns a company about robots. Um, and since this is going to be chapter 2, I'm going to stop the video here. So I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next episode.